Welcome to Good Vibes. My special guest today is Natalie, and we're just going to get straight into it. We're going to talk about what we want to talk about, and it might be topical, or we might go to the topic. So bear with us. We're here for positivity, some straight talking. We're going to try and keep the content clean and not swearing, but just know that this is like grown folk talk, but the youth can learn as well. But so you know, before we start, this is not for minors, but they'll probably learn more than they are formally. So here we go. Priority special guest is Natalie. Please tell us about yourself.
Hello. First of all, I'd just love to say thank you for having me. Good vibes, are they? Much needed. So I'm Natalie. I'm from Nurture by Natalie. A little bit about what I do is initially it started off with everything starts from a thought and I thought begin at the closest part to me that I could, which is skin. So I started by making soap. The reason why it happened because been 18 years as a youth worker and working with young people, hard to reach, and like SEN being my favorites, absolute favorite people in the whole entire world. One of the days I was picking the fluff out of the hair of one of my boys who was always, anyway, he just put his head down because he knew I was going to start picking at him. And one of the other boys was like, Miss Natalie's bare nurturing, she's bare nurturing. And I was like, yo, because it's a word that people had used to describe me before. But it was the way he said it was so clean, clear, and just genuine. I said, no, man, because I was feeling burnout just because the sector's very hard on you. And I said, no, time to do something different. So I said, well, what's the closest thing to me is your skin. Everybody need to bathe them skin. And because I'm a nerd, I was like, oh, what about soap? Because it's nurturing, and because like I like the natural things and all them things. Like I don't have no beef with anything else, and we represent how we want to. But I like natural things, like so I can go and pick that there and squeeze that, and I get this, and I love all that from my grandma kind of thing. So I learned from it the soap. I went on the course, and I'm like, oh, so you can put an acid and an alkali together essentially, and you get this, and then I was like, okay, so you can make bath bombs and candles and all these things that nurture people, because especially in a time like this, nurture is something that it's one of these words that gets thrown out like well-being, but what it really mean and who needs it most. And that's where I come in, because my slogan is well-being without the woo-woo, because that's what most of us need. So that's me in a nutshell.
I love that. So for those who don't know, SEN is special educational needs, and
Yes.
also in other places it's SEND as well,
Yes.
which I can't remember what the D is for.
You know what? To be honest, I can't remember the acronyms. Like, you see me, like I'm not good with like the words and the pattern, the spiel, but most people can tell you, get me in front of the youths, them. I'm about this all day. I'm about this tap and the get into the soul of a person. Who are you? What makes you tick? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What makes you comfortable? Like all of that. That's what makes me buzz. But I can't necessarily give you the A to Z with it. Yeah, as you.
No, sorry, go on.
No, it's all right. No, one of my things is I have a real. Partly it's rebellious, and partly it's just about being really connected to self in an alien place. I have a real thing about using colloquial prose and like what they would consider street or road talk. I just consider it talking as how you grow up. But I think the proper term is colloquial prose, like, and how it's not deemed professional, and like the whole code switching thing. And it's like, yo, going into these places and doing a 1-2 training courses and whatever, and doing certain studies and whatever, it's like more about, oh, so that's the name that Uno use for this thing that I do already. Okay, but I do it, so why do I need to learn the name that you call it and you can't do it? So my whole thing is, I think it's really important, like most workplaces, everything, I always speak Patwa. I always try and do little pidgin, even though I do it badly. Like anything that I can pick up that culturally makes people feel more included, I think it's so important. And not everybody just completely sanitize down themselves and speak
All
this
right.
alien language, which is an amalgamation of all languages anyway.
You see, people that are listening, please listen to Lady Natalie. We met on Twitter and we engage on this platform. She will speak for herself. We this is the first time we are speaking, and
Mm-hmm.
my heart is already happy
Same.
because of the real talk. And now the reason why I'm looking away, I'm for active listening, but this is also about topics. And you said a word, and I'm searching my social media for patois because there's something that I put down that I would love you to elaborate on. And
Cool.
we'll get back to this. So, what was it about patois? And I totally agree with you. Let me look for this. Okay, right. I've searched patois
Mm-hmm.
and then my Twitter handle, ah-lee-ah-kwaye.
Yeah.
And I put here, and what I would love your reaction to this. Right. Oh, yes. Protect, not police, each other's choice and mix of vocabulary, language, etc. See energy people use to attack and mock patois, slang, and pidgin. Yet it ends up in the dictionary. Some prioritize the Queen's English that mocks you and your ancestry. If it does not harm you, what's your own? Your reaction, please.
Yo, that's pure powers. That's quintessentially everything, yeah. Everything that I think about it. Because the first thing that we have to realize is like from for a lot of our grandparents and slightly earlier from colonialism, even people here, I was talking about it to my mother just yesterday. Like you'll find like even an East End geezer back in the day on the news, he'd be like, "All right, mate, apples and pears," and that when he's at home. But then he'd get on the news and he would speak like this or on a program. So like even people here was forced to do this code switching, and then whoever was colonialized, we were done the same. And then it's got to the point now. There's so many countries where England is the first language and the indigenous language is dying. Like, and it's like, for me, I think it's really important. Like, I tease my niece and my nephews about it because they can't speak patois. So, like, there's this whole bants that happens because I think it's important. Yeah, I may sound like the embarrassing auntie, but I think it's important to pick up like the new words that come out and the language because language is so important. Communication is important. And we often speak about the disconnect between young people being somebody that's young person focused. And we speak about the disconnect. How can we communicate them if we don't know what they're saying? It's just like my generation. Oh, yo, that's bad that is. We'd say something's bad and meaning it's good. The generation above us was like confused because they're like, no, but we don't talk like that. No, because there's this arrogance in society that no, you must conform and speak how we speak. There's a lot of countries where they speak better English than we will ever speak their language because English is my first language because I was born here. But I'm saying if I had the choice, I always try and pick up as much as I can, even if it's to say thank you, to say please. What's the word for black? So I know they're not cussing me. And what's the naughty words? Like, them are the things that I always try and
Yes,
learn first.
exactly.
And I just think it's so important to have that sense of self. English is made up of like Indian and Latin and French and all these languages anyway. And
Roman, Italian. Yeah.
right. And a really good point that you raised is the fact that you'll find that certain of our slang and things that we innovate, so we are innovators of language and communication. We innovate the thing and then we get denigrated for the thing. Oh, that's not professional. And yet it turns round. Like if you look, what was it the other day? Like words like woke, words like girl, and the vernacular that is used, like just throwaway vernacular to us now gets monetized in marketing and media. Like, look at hip hop and things like that. That was looked on as, oh, those people, those thugs and things like that. Reggae music, oh, them dotted the rest of it. All these things, even like when you look at words like, oh, speaking patois, like say, oh, something, oh, you're from Jamaica, the first thing they want to say is BBC. You get me? As in, affectionately called boiled beef and carrots by my mom, right? That's the abbreviation. So we just giggle about that. So even the first thing they're saying is word beef and carrots. Fam, do you know what that word means? There's about 2 or 3 different interpretations of that. So let's break that down before you're dropping out things out your mouth for cool points, yeah, because you want to cherry pick, and then you don't know what they mean and the power behind them. Which is why when I used to study Shakespeare and that, obviously in education and whatever, which I do actually appreciate it, colloquial prose was one of my, like, it's a word that has been like over 20 years in my vocabulary, because, or a phrase should I say, because it just encompasses everything. Actually, if I'm born over here, that's how I'm going to learn to speak. If I'm born over here, that's because I'm going to speak the way that I was socialized to speak. So if one was born in an area where the people sort of enunciated and spoke like this, it would actually be very normal for me to speak like this. But since when does the ability to do that, um, does that denote, for me, it doesn't denote ethics, it doesn't denote honesty. It doesn't denote professionalism. Because here what, yeah, if you got a little road you, yeah, that's really gifted and they understand astrology and astronomy and all that, and they understand how all the planetary alignments and that affect us, our human life and that, and they break it down like that, didn't they break it down and make you understand it? So how is it not professional? And if you think about it, here's the other thing, and I say this to people, all the people that have lied to us, all the people that put things in place to manipulate us and to make sure that they get the most out of us for the least input, they are all extremely cut glass, darling. So what that mean then?
I love that. You've put it so much better. And the thing is, this is a very passionate thing to me. And you have to bear with me because I'm processing everything and there's so many things. There's a world within us. There's a vocabulary within us. So I'm going to try and use my timeline of life to try and briefly explain why I'm as passionate about this as you are. In the sense of, so my history is, we are, in terms of what's it called, our civilization, our ancestors being African, and then the diaspora and the from before time was recorded, migration patterns for necessity. So this is the beyond the non-verbal and you key thing about communication. So the heritage that I know of is Nigeria in West Africa, my part. So from there, we're going around spreading stuff. I see us as the link to the peoples that were, of course, don't scatter. So like the Pangea plate of the world, it was split by force, by people theft. But before that, for necessity and survival, for building civilizations that are buried and hidden in plain sight. So from my timeline, that I know of, we come from the Benin Empire and that ancient civilizations. So what I'm saying is from then until now, present time, as that we are talking, there's a reason that we have to carry on the language that we know when it hasn't been, for different reasons, not from our senior citizens and our elders' fault, because of the survival necessities for coming here. They didn't have the time to teach, or they have to teach the Queen's English. Nothing matters. Our skin is always going to be a barrier. I'm talking about African, Latin American, anybody. Also, so-called Caucasians, even if there were none of us, there's a divide from the so-called North and South, even. The beautiful languages. I have an affinity even with so-called Northern. I had to ask my friend, what is this Northern business? She goes, I don't mind it. It's easier for them, but we know who we are. But if we could not speak and we were blind, the skin wouldn't matter, but we'd still connect. I would connect with you because of how I can hear, how you're the different languages. Now, coming back, this is why I'm really trying really hard to contain it, the timeline. I wasn't taught Esan and Edo language, but because of the oral history has not been recorded and documented everywhere, the erasure in school teaching the language, all these kind of things, I always ask for textbooks. My uncle, I've got lots of uncles and aunties and family back home. I ask them to teach me via WhatsApp. We look for it online. Does Google Translate? No. If people didn't force it and push for they push for the Spanish, push for the French, push for the Chinese, as they should be. They have to keep themselves alive. You can't hate any culture for pushing their language, but when your own is not pushed and taught to you, you have to keep it alive as you and I and millions try to. Now, when it's your own people who come like grammar Nazis, patois Nazis, pidgin Nazis, yet it's the same people that say, I wish I could speak my language, like you said, but they will put you down for using any kind of vernacular that you're talking about, any slang. You're okay, and you're okay when you want to hear it and you want to reach the youth then. Now, there's different ways, but people don't make the time to ask for why you do it. They will shut it down for their own reasons. I don't care. I know who I am. The ones that understand, and let me tell you this, that out of the hundreds of relatives, uncle back home, he knows who he is. He won't mind me saying, Prince Lucky, thank you. Yeah, he knows when he travels back to the village, he will bring it for me. He will find something that he'll find it. And when I went to visit, he gave it to me. 2, my friend Paul, Caucasian Liverpudlian man, he will use it as well because we're comfortable. He will ask about it. So what I'm saying is beyond skin. You never stick to the people that encourage it because that the elders are passing. None of you are making, not everybody is making time. So I want to pass it on to my Pekin. So she knows these are the reasons. There's reasons for keeping it alive. So the ones who know me, irrespective of skin, these are the main reasons. It's so important to keep it alive. That's why I used to be vexed that there's so many only storytellers, only entertainment, only sports. But then I'm realizing that's who we are. We pass it on. Each one teach one, as people say. My husband is Jamaican and Antiguan, and he's passionate about, that's why I speak it sometimes, because he says it all the time. You get my gist.
Yeah.
So I loved what you were saying, because we didn't expect to talk about this, but you said it so well. Please continue. So in terms of access to youth, you are bridging so many different worlds, and you are the lifeline to some of these people that you are connecting with through language and yourself and spirit. So I'm very thankful that you have this. And you were talking about 20 or more years as a youth worker?
Nearly 20, 18 years.
Yes. I love this. And how do they react to you when you're speaking language? Which backgrounds? Anything you're allowed to talk about?
I'll give a story because I'll get into the habit of either using pseudonyms or not saying names because of safeguarding and all that anyway. So one story was a couple of my colleagues, senior colleagues, because we used to greet the young people in the mornings coming in through the gate, and just it was duly to greet them, but also to keep an eye on anything happening, bubbling up as the day starts. So, you all right, babe? Hello, love. Pure, because there's not just cultural, colloquial prose to the best of my ability. There's also, like, you can hear from my dulcet tones. I was born in Birmingham as well, so there's the so-called northern tone. So when you say northern, it was making me giggle. Hello, babe. Yes, my lion. You're all right. Cool. Like any little thing, like I see you.
Yes.
So Two of my senior colleagues that was out there at the time, they said, like, they would have said something like, yeah, you with this road talking and that, like, I bet you can't speak proper English. So me getting a little rebellious fears now, right? So me say, all right, watch me and it's pure banter there. So there's a young person, and we'll call him Vanguard because that's the name I refer to him as. The one of the most emotionally intelligent people and in touch and sensitive people I've ever met in my life. I call him Vanguard. Him see everything. So this youth is coming in through the gate. Good morning, Vanguard, and how are you? Vanguard, turn and look up, Mister. I said, is everything okay, Vanguard? You seem to be a little bit startled. Miss, there's something wrong. I said, and what seems to be wrong? Is it not okay that one converses in a particular manner such as this? The picnic stopped me, take a little finger, turn my face, and he goes, you know what, miss, it's not you. And my senior colleagues had heard that. I said, yes, my youth. And I put my arm around his shoulder. I said, come, make we walk, go to class. So that's the best one to explain that. And then one of the other youths, them who happened to be a Caucasian youth, I'd shown them my uni pass because I was studying at the time. And so in the picture, I had my head, I had the Ghana knot on, headscarf with the Ghana knot in the front. And so this little European youth is laughing. He's like, oh, Teletubbies and that. I'm like, yeah, you fool. Like, we're just bantering back about it because it's cultural. He doesn't really know what the levels of it. And the next youth now turn around. We'll call him Daddy Longlegs because him tall. Daddy Longlegs said, no, actually, that's actually very cultural because he knows that obviously I know, and nobody can't tell me I'm an African woman. I just come via a detour. Yeah. But he knows obviously that from the way I speak, I identify as Jamaican as well. But he goes, actually, that's very cultural. Like Miss Natalie is very cultural because he was surprised to see I'm represented because I'm going into the educational institution and I'm wearing the thing, fam. You tell me I can't wear a hat because like you don't understand about the thing of hair covering and this and that. So no caps, because you know that's not fashion of anybody else. Even though I wear a flat Baker Boy cap, but we'll play the game. I'm wearing a scarf. So there was that. Very, very that. So we used to have banter back and forth like that. And then one day there was messing about because we had a toilet for our classroom. But there was each up in the toilet doing some foolishness. Don't ask me where it come from, but I was like, 3, 2, 1, come out. Like this, like, and then Daddy Longlegs goes, Mrs. Aff, you know, she's just Aff. Like,
yeah. That's I love that. And what was your reaction or the class?
We all fell out. It's like when I come out the kitchen, and there was the story about the mango, which you know as well. Like, and I think it just even the youths them that are not from that background, they feel included because even if it's an Asian youth, I will say, yeah. So when you're acting up like this, if I tell Mama G and Papa G what's going on, like what's good, if I see like somebody from an Arabic background, hi Baba, hi Mama, like I just like to be able to not just my own, but there's enough room and we are diverse enough to welcome everybody's chatting at the conversation. So it's like, why is it that we're trying to erase it, man? It's something that's horrible. It's like, yeah, we can all come in and talk a certain way. It's like, we don't tell Jamie Oliver that he shouldn't speak like that. He's just recognized as a person in his field. And it's that thing of, I don't want to be the vehicle for teaching young people that either speak like me or are socialized by people that speak like me, that they are not professional because they speak like me. Because I'm telling them that their culture, their society is not professional when it's actually the instigator of society. It's the blueprint for society. It's the blueprint for education because everything that we've been taught has actually been gone and gotten and so it's important. And like you said, the link, fam, the link, like Patwell could never die with me because even in interviews, I've come out with certain things and translated it. because actually it's about you. Like a point, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, used to the. They need to learn how to understand. Not, oh, well, you need to translate for me because I don't want to. No, 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 no. It's 2021 now. You've had enough, and there's a changing of the guards now. We are international. Even though Brexit's just locked down, that's understandable because you understand that your way of doing things is shifting, and I get it. It's everything is as it should be, like it's expressing itself, and that's kind of like a big, for me, a big indicator of that. But there's also something else taking place. So all the picnic them, the picnic them descendants, yeah, pick me or picking, whichever one you take your pick, right? We're the descendants of the people them that you colonialized and then lied to get them over there to clean up the mess that you created. And we're here now, and you ain't got no receipt, Rasta. So you can't send we back for refund. And if you are going to send we back for refund, then you have to refund, aka reparate. So it's all of that, and you ain't got no money, fam, because you're broke already. So you can't pay that back. So just be honest and open. Like we're not, and for the most part, we're not asking for much. Just give me a little room, make me live, no man. That's it, really.
It's that's such a perfect way of doing this. And the thing is, everything you're saying is actually, it's so beautifully put and so factual. It is actually simple, but because we're kept distracted, there's a machine of distraction media. It seems complicated. People's minds are already full of things that matter and a lot of things that don't matter. So they won't actively listen. Those who want to hear will hear your wisdom. They will share their wisdom, those watching and those passing it who are trying. And understandably, and you were talking about that connectivity. This is what it's about. This is what this platform is about. Yeah. So I just wanted to talk about things that you talk about. You mentioned Brexit, and I'm going to try and make an analogy it's coming to mind as I'm talking. You said Brexit and language. And for me, I totally understand, irrespective of the country, skin color, ethnicity, whatever. I totally understand the need for so-called sovereignty, for protectionism, because it's survival. I'm not against that aspect of things. I'm really not, irrespective of who you are. I understand the need for doing it. But at the same time, like you said, we're connected, irrespective. Now, for me, I remember my husband and I sitting, like for every election, like for the referendum, like for the Brexit vote, like for any vote that's coming. On the one hand, there's a reason why a lot of people do not vote, do not engage, participate, because it's like even the young are smart. And I'm 43. I consider myself an elder. So we were born aunties. Now, the issue is we sat there for an hour and we knew we had to participate or we had no right to complain. But it's understandable which promises have been delivered from when democracy began. That's the issue. Are you going to keep your promises after? This is the issue. So every time. So for me, the language thing, Brexit and the language and each of us, ownership of our lives, ownership of our choices, but knowing we're dependent on each other. Now, this thing is, I'll give you an example. I've always been a people pleaser to an extent, but no one can push me into what I want to do. Now, I remember going to an acquaintance's party and there were two Nigerians there. And I was like asking, oh, where are you from and stuff. And I've always used, so Edo State in southern Nigeria, and is Esan. It's different areas of Esan. Now, the Oyibo, the foreign, the English call it Ishan. Now, I won't say who, which family members, I asked them, because they're always saying Ishan. Even some in the village say Ishan, the foreign, the Oyibo way of saying it. So who do I respect? I respect my elders, my blood, and I say Ishan, even though I know my people recognize it as Esan. Ishan, Oyibo, the foreign English way, or Esan, Esan. What I'm saying is, who did I respect? It was going well. And I said Ishan, because that's what the closest elders use. Yeah. And they laughed. So, yes, thank you. So the thing is, you know, there's that kind of spirit, and they laughed. And I know it wasn't just about that. And then they said they did that. And I remember this years ago. My memory stays long. So when that spirit changed, I know it's not about what I said. It's usually about, it was a girl and a man. And me, I'm just like making conversation with everybody. I know it was the girl that laughed. Insecurity. So to use something small, and then someone next to me said, "Oh, what are they laughing at?" I went, "Oh, they're just being rude because she's insecure." And nothing was said. Silence. Now, you know nothing. You know I'm right because you didn't come back with nothing. Pim. Now, there's loads of little things over the years that people come, our people and any people, when it's about language, when it's about all these different little beefs, and they're walking contradictions. Do as I say, not as I do. Me, I stay quiet. When there's that little remark about someone saying across, because I am a nice person, I stay quiet. Because if I say something and make them cry, who's the one they're going to remember as starting it? Not the person who said the snide remark out of insecurity and jealousy and bad mind. So my friend, when you're talking about all this well-being, is needed, because if I speak, I will deliver you to your makers, and it is goodbye. And the makers will not claim you; they'll dash you out.
This is the thing. I have literally because you put out pure good things, but every so often, yeah, I've seen you deliver a singlet tear in such an eloquent and graceful manner. Nobody would know nothing, but I know the garment tear off and dash where, right?
The rapper's like,
it's in them have to tie it up and make brazier because that's all that's left, right? I've seen it, and it's in us, and it's like with myself. Like I've got to the point where like my mind is very, very terrible because from work with young people, I also dabble in psychology quite a lot because I'm the nerd part of me is like, how does that work? How, if you put that together, what's the name for that? I love learning all of that, which is where I was saying about oh, so that's the word for what I do. Oh, so when I slightly challenge my niece and listen to her answers, and I watch her behavior and a pattern happening, and we challenge each other on it, and we go back and forth a little bit, but we give each other room to speak, and then we come over the hump, and then we're closer as a bond afterwards. To me, that's just me and my niece flexing, like, so that I'm a safe place for her to come, kind of thing, even though like that's a buzzword now, but that is known in psychological terms as rupture and repair. I was like, so uno can do rupture and repair. Uno can rupture, but uno not repair. Well, you can't tell me when me I do a rupture and repair. All right, good. But I've seen you do it. I've seen you do it very eloquently, and I think that this is the thing. I've lost my thread. Sorry, can you gather me a little bit, please,
no.
sis?
The thing is, this is because I love this. Now, what you are saying is that the reason why I'm saying these things, I stay offline. If I wanted to say it to you, I would say it directly. But usually, those kind of things, when I'm saying something, it's not directed at anyone. It's usually when I've jumped on to read the trending headlines and I get vexed.
Yeah.
Or it's for people who you don't, they won't come to you online, or they'll be chatting about you. Yeah. And you can see the beefs and stuff, but you're still following. What for? What for? Now you're not in my life, but you're still following. But me, I would do it directly, or for the ones who follow. And what are you following for? There's nothing here to see. Go with your life. I think it's about not becoming what you don't want to be. And I will share things because it's like, Trump. And it's because if I say what's truly on my mind, I will be deactivated or jailed.
Yep.
But the deactivation would be a great thing, because this conditioning and need to share is there, because it's like sharing about the way of the world and social injustice. But me, the ones who avoid any chat, I know there's some people you can't talk to. This is separate to the tweets. My tweets usually come from, I've seen what's trending. The same topics come on my timeline, and I'm like, I didn't follow this topic. Why? Okay, this is what everyone's talking about. Then I would comment on it, and I was like, I'll read it, and it's a whole load of blood pressure. I'm reading it down, my blood pressure's going up, and then I'll tweet something because I don't want to be tagged in anything, because no one's actively reading. They're only filtering through them. They're not seeing where I'm kind of like the wisdom we talk, trying to be constructive. Can you see both points of view? And then that's when the fire tweets come. Offline, I would tell you, the ones who don't want to talk, or the ones who will blow up. There's people I know with fuses. There's no point in talking to them because they want to but others will think there's amnesia. Let time pass, and I'll come to her. Keep on walking, cross the road, keep on walking, because now I see you. Keep on walking, because I will make you cry, or I'll tell you about yourself, women and men. That's why I like you. And I was like, wait a minute, I need to get Natalie on, because say your handle. Do you want to say your Twitter handle, or?
No, because it's a burner,
okay,
see. And okay, so getting into that and following on exactly from what you said, because tying it back into the well-being and stuff, tying it into the whole planting pancetta that we find ourselves in now, before even the whole panacea, there was a group of people, and a very distinct group of people. Don't get me wrong, everybody's got their damage that they carry, everybody. Yeah, the only difference is some are aware and some are not. So in terms of well-being, there was a group of people for whom social media became that outlet and that let out, because when you hear them talk, because I like to read between the lines, because when certain topics come up, dating topics come up, they're the people that talk about how wickedly they've been buoyed off and being mocked and mugged when it comes to the dating scene. Pure Zuckerberg business. And I understand it's a lack of self-esteem and all of this, but fam, you're being taken for a pleb. Yeah. Heal from that, learn and heal, rest up your personage and heal, right? Because that's what the pancetta could have been used for, to rest up the thing, male and female. So don't get it twisted, because I don't like it just attacking girls. That just irritates me, because I'm my sister's keeper. I'm a bit tomboyish. I'm not a bad man, but I'm my sister's keeper. So yeah, there's that part. When it comes to like fashion and appearance, they're always the ones, when you read through the lines, they're either dragging somebody, tearing down somebody's appearance, or they're trying everything to fit into this box that is this now very generic, no. And like, while I understand everybody's need for expressing themselves and people want to be fashionable, young people want to be fashionable, I get it. But everybody looks the same, fam. I don't want to look the same as nobody else because it's me one bun, it's just me one away.
Yes.
You get me?
Yeah.
Exclusive. You get me? But you want the exclusive treatment. When it comes to relationships, you talk about what you want and your expectations, but fam, you're a bit of a crappy person. Like, you've got work to do, fam. Like, apart from, you don't have no personality like that. You just repeat buzzwords because you hope that will help you to fit in. And this is the thing, like you said, if it was to really go in with you, niecey, nephew, cousin, brother, sister, fam, I will disrupt your whole cerebral because I actually psychologically read you from what you say and from what you don't say. Because even when you're talking about you're a private person, that's showing me that, you know what, things are very tender. There's a lot to hide. And when you overshare, it's showing that it's just spilling out. So we get it, like, it's not one side or other. I'm not denigrating. I'm just saying what I see and what is. It's fact. When we're talking about celebrities, they jump up and they jump up so hot and the latest buzzwords and that. But when it comes to an original thought in your head, you don't got it like that, son. You don't got it like that. So it's like, when these people get started, there is thing I understand. I do post as well because my handle basically is like, because I look like for say already for the amount of times when I look like that. That's the meme that I took it from, because the caption is "Stead boy beef and carrots Lee." So it's just like, that's the how that come about. And then the other thing is, I prefer to navigate the Twitter streets, because what happens is most people, if because they don't remember the meme, because people's memory short, man, the goldfishes nowadays, because that's the way how the technology's got our attention span shrinking. They don't remember the meme for some. So most of the time they actually interact with me as if I'm a man. And I swear to God, there's a huge difference, because like I say, I'm my sister's keeper, but the way that I express myself would be kind of considered man them. Right? Because I'm just a little ruffian, like, from back a day. That's just me. Like, you get what I mean? It's because I used to MC and things like that. So being in the studio, not wanting to be taken as a studio,
Yes.
I'm trying. Not wanting to be taken as a groupie and all them something. They're like, listen, I got something to say, something that I care about. I'm passionate. I've always been this passionate. And it's not that I want to be all up in the camera and that. That's not necessarily my thing. It's more about, I got this to say, and how can we reach the most people in the quickest route? If I do a dub on it, then more people hear it. So that was that. But you're not going to take me for no grouping neither. Like, yo, left, exit stage, left kind of vibe. So
I think
that's
that people want that. Do you find? I think that there's, for example, when you were talking about dating,
Yeah.
Honestly, like you're saying, it's just for people. They'll say minimum attention span, and it's just to get the attention. Now,
Yes.
you and I could easily, we know what to say to make something go viral. It's got to be empty. It's got to be a cuss word, and
Yeah.
it's got to be toxic and humiliation to
Very
something,
much.
somebody, a group. Now,
Yes.
you said dating, and my awareness of my social awareness of people politics, gender politics, has come so late in life. And to see it, the naivety, but to understand it now, different from when it was, because I started dating when I was 23. So it's like 20 years ago. Now, and then I've got a tweet for you to react to.
Okay, cool.
This is from the end of last year, 31st of December 2020. I observed dating comments and wonder, why not be upfront to avoid beef? ? Why don't men and women and men in the same social circle warn people when mutuals are dating, so you know whose advances to say no to? Because it's not that I believe in sisterhood. I believe in men repping each other. And I did a video about bro code and cis code and all this stuff after learning about this. But for me, it's like, it's the I put this as you patriarchy enablers who admire your brothers and friends sexing multiple people at the same time regularly, yet shame and police women's bodies and choice, including single-digit women who rarely and selectively date. Now, we're a passionate people that are choosy, but it's like you can hear these so-called male who are feminists, whatever. They'll be saying this thing, oh yeah, we're not part of the patriarchy and stuff like that. But they'll laugh when the man them do this and they'll comment. But then you're choosing groupies for the permanent. I think it's an insecurity thing for some, because there's a lot of real talkers that can't keep it real. I think you and I'm finding out that there's the close fam who will really ride or die and be honest with you. Like you said, you had that honesty, rupture and repair. The ones who do not want to repair and the only ones that want to rupture, keep it moving. My friend, move mad elsewhere from my sanctuary. Do not disturb my peace. Yes, please, yes, cleanse our timelines. Beautiful.
Even I talk about them to burn the Palo Santo.
Yeah, so your reaction to that?
Right, it's very good. So the first thing is, it's the attention thing, because it follows on, like, you hear them, like, the going back to the whole, remember the when it was the parents charging their children rent and stuff like that. A lot of us have grown up and come up seeing a lot of actual toxicity, abuse and drama. And then for the most of it, especially the girl picking them and the boys to a certain extent, even though they were encouraged to go and roam and defile as many people's daughters as possible, but just not my daughter, but other people's daughters, but the other people are saying not my daughters. So that ties in. There's a whole psychological, it's a gaslight, it's a social gaslight, really bad. They had to sit down in the house and watch EastEnders and Emmerdale and Coronation Street and Hollyoaks with their parents. That was centered around pubs. That's the first thing. Something go wrong, go on, go drink. Drink up. Drink is alcohol is an emotional drug. And this whole community is socialized and mobilized around this pub, even though there's other social benefits from it that are now disappearing with all the like local pubs that are gone now. That's another story. But so we're growing up, it's all emotional. So now these people who don't have any personality, that don't really have any self-esteem, that don't have an original thought, that just have this hive mentality, that can now shine from the put downs and everything else on this medium where nobody knows the real you, because actually fake is the new real now. And that's not to put down anybody or nothing like that. But it's like, from when I heard this phrase called, oh, natural makeup, where, like, don't lie to me. We say, yeah, makeup. So it's nice. Have your little enhancement because we're beautiful people. So enhance them lips, enhance them eyes, enhance them cheekbones and everything what you got. Contour if you want to get rid of double chin. Do all the things. I like to sit down and watch the tutorials. I think it's art. I genuinely do. I think it's amazing. But me, I nearly 43, me, I soon 43, me, I touch 43, me, I kiss 43, 4 decades and 3 years on this planet. I'm not saying I know everything, I don't. But what you can't tell me is that makeup is natural. Because when me get up and me crop the coal out of my eye and wash my face and put little eye on it, now that's a natural face. Please, let's not do this. I've got my dark circles, I've got my freckles and everything, my melanin spots. That's a natural face. My lips are a bit dry now. Wait, so why can't we just, so anyway, wind it back in that. Fake is the new real. So in terms of the real, they can present themselves now in this way. And it's easy. Like, because when I first got into social media, it was really easy to paint a narrative of somebody who I wanted people to think I am. But because I am that real ragamuffin Rambo ruffian from back in the day that people know that will either can boil up a bush tea or do whatever, like, I'm not trying to fake the funk, because there's always somebody that knows the real you. And for two, I know the real me, and I don't want people to like me for a fake persona that I put on for people. Just because I could go and learn a couple buzzwords. It's not hard. It's like learning a verse. You learn that and you spit that. But here, what? Yeah, there's something about. Well, I feel a responsibility back to the village because we see the damage that social media is doing. I see these people so insecure and just so lost. And it's actually painful because I'm an empath as well, so I physically feel things sometimes as well. So it's like this is not nice, but at the same time you can't bully me off, you know. So if here's the thing, because no matter what, whether you beat me, you could lick out my teeth, and if I know that I'm right or I feel that I'm right and I'm behind it, I'm gonna get up, spit out the teeth, and I'm gonna gum it like this and say what the hell I said because I said what I said. Yeah.
Excellent.
But at the same time, for me, I'm not rising up my blood pressure on this. I'm not doing it. I'm not
But
doing
even
it.
offline,
You know
because
what
for
I'm
me,
going?
you're being real. You being real
Yeah.
is us being real. People watching, listening. We're billions strong. My thing is, I know myself. No one. You said a beautiful thing, which I might call this episode. You said social gaslighting. Perfectly put. Because the difference, though, I know I don't try it anymore, but I know, and people know me. I am consistent in character. Now,
Yeah.
my naivety won't be repeated. It comes with maturity. But what I've learned is accountability. It's so complicated what's happened. Social gaslighting. But if I drew all the people who have trash talked or lied or misrepresented and not contributed their lying and their down low behavior, if I brought them all in a room, even with a lie detector, even if the lie detector said, man's lying, woman's lying, and I say all the truth, everything, including my part, even though I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know and I didn't know I was wronging, there's no point in bringing people together for truth and reconciliation. Do you know what? I found out? Because they are safe in their insecurity, and they are safe in living with that lie, living with the liar, living with the gaslighters, because it's all they've got. And
Yes.
even so, you'd rather be with an enemy than with someone who would betray your friend, someone who'd ride or die. They call this. This is why I've stopped, and that is why those who have stepped and don't try. But you get the little tourists coming in, or the little messages that's been sent to come and find out what's going on and going back. You have no life, my friends. You have no life. My friend, come out, as Miss Ashley says. That's
The
it.
little Tweety birds, you know the best thing, because like I say, I'm a nerd. So sometimes for me, oh look, I'm leaning out this shot. And for me, it's the algorithm. The algorithm tell it all, you know. The algorithm, it have rhythm, you get me? Because rhythm, patterns, I'm a pattern person. Numbers and
Behavioral
patterns.
in
Huh?
behavioral
Yeah.
patterns, or
Oh, here where I'm going with it because you're saying about the Tweety birds that will kind of they'll run and drop a 1-2 subliminal and see if somebody will bite to give them the attention because attention is their food. All you have to do is look upon your tweet that will have maybe one like or one reshare, yeah, and then you look at tweet activity and there's thousands of views on it.
oh my
Where, where,
god,
where,
where do you see
where?
that? Where do you see it? Where's
You know
tweet activity?
when you go on a tweet when you create it. Hold on, me I go pull it up.
Yeah, I'm looking up. I'm going to look on mine. You can tell me. This is interesting.
Yeah, because it's like sometimes when you see that, because I used to look at that, it's like on YouTube, you'll see like 1-2 likes, and yet there's like
Yeah,
hundreds of views, and you're like, yeah, what's that about? That's why the algorithm, yeah,
yeah.
makes it about watch time as well as likes and stuff like that because
Oh,
they understand the nature of the thing.
I thought that
Yeah,
was for I thought that was for business. I
no.
thought this was just
So,
for business.
oh wait, go on. Right, I'll figure it
Go
out.
to your left a touch. Oh, you know what? Let me click on it.
View tweet activity.
I thought it was just for business people, not just
Hmm.
for person. Oh, please. That's
So,
hilarious. I've seen it on
like,
Facebook.
my pinned
Yeah.
tweet, I didn't even know. Total engagements 34. Right?
So they're just
Fine.
there,
It's a,
looky,
it's
looky.
a low key burner account. It's cool. Like, I'm so cool with that. Impressions times people saw it 5,676.
Hey, it's
Right?
interesting. It's interesting.
And that's
Okay,
only been up
so
since 2019, late 2019. So just over
I
a year.
I'm loving this and learning this. I've just clocked the time and I have fully enjoyed, and we are talking about other stuff. There's nothing wrong with this because we dropped some wisdom and some laughter, but very key is please tell people about Nurture for Natalie and
Ne-
anything you want to talk about that.
So coming up, because obviously I was interrupted because of the whole COVID process. I was literally um the beginning of last year, I was gearing up to some things, and then Miss Rona hit and kind of licked me sideways a little bit. Um, and then things opened up, and it was December. I became a grand aunt. I just say a grandma because it just sounds better, and that was amazing. So thank you, my darling. So shouts out to my nephew who's a pup's amazing, the only father in our family. I respect you, Kai. Um, so there was that, and then in January, contracted COVID-related pneumonia. So all the things that I said, all right, I'm going to put in place. I'm just getting back into gear, lick off again. So Nurture by Natalie is working on quite a few things. I'm a bit like, I guess it's that thing of a bit scared to speak on it. And you know, that old school thing of don't tell nobody what you're doing until you do it because kind of thing. So, and also just that thing of it takes a bit of confidence to kind of brag on yourself a little bit. So that's me just being really transparent and saying, I haven't really got anything to say like as such about now. Just look out, and as soon as like Nurture by Natalie has got anything to offer the people them, I will be quite vociferous and loud. Come on, my mouth's big enough as you can tell. And thank you for asking.
I'll put
I'm
the
just
links
yes,
when
please.
it's launched. Yeah, it's better to move in silence and build a solid foundation when you're ready, especially with all these different challenges. And I will put all the links that Natalie wants me to. And
Yes,
yeah, like she
please.
says, get ready. But it's a lesson in what's it called? It's a beautiful lesson in your perseverance because it
Yeah.
takes a lot. You have to be good within yourself and the business, but it is possible. And I love that. So all the contacts below. And before we go, last word to Natalie, to you guys.
Firstly, I'd like to say big, massive shout out to ah-lee-ah-kwaye. Just good
Nice to
vibes,
meet
like the
you.
platform. Beautiful to meet you. My spirit check for you from your words. I watch your consistency because, like I say, I read people. Topics, I think, is amazing, and I'm behind that all day. I need to actually tweet that a bit more and what have you, which I will get into. Like, I'm actually working on my. Just thank you so much. Thanks for listening. Thank you for your time. Hopefully, we said something that touched you in a positive way and helped your life to be better. Cause it's pure good vibes around here. So, like, share, subscribe. Good vibes. Salute.
Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Stay blessed.